to do that. So I have like 50 notes on my desk. Record, record. Hey guys, welcome and thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to do this. Andrew, we typically do this lunch with coach once a month. I do it for my team members, and we usually have some kind of a subject to talk about, and I have a guest speaker. We're
Okay.
doing it this time and open it up to everybody else out there because we just think it's such a great subject to talk about. We wanted to share it with everyone. So thank you for taking time out of your day to come on here with us. And I really, really appreciate it. So um, my folks on my team know what a hard sell I've been starting to do more and more about getting them involved in masters because I drank the Kool-Aid. I became
Yeah.
a master's. A little quick background about me, and I'm not going to say a whole bunch. Um, I got my master's coaching certification, gosh, probably 8 years ago or more, as continuing education for my triathlon coaching certification. And what I realized right away was it's one of the most valuable tools I have, not just because of what I got at that certification, but what I got afterwards as a member of USMS. And I've been trying to preach it ever since. And I'm trying to think of creative ways to bring it to triathletes because I think it can be such a benefit to triathletes in their swimming discipline. So that's a little bit about me. The other person on here with me that I'm so honored and proud and excited to have here and call my friend and colleague is Jackie Marianos, who's actually the chair of NTLMSC, which I'm going to explain here in a minute what that means. But Jackie, I'll just let you do a quick intro of yourself.
Sure. Thank you, Frank. Thank you all for taking time out of your lunch break to be here with us today. So I'm Jackie Marianos. I'm the chair of NTLMSC. That stands for North Texas Local Master Swim Committee. So myself with Frank, who is on our board as well, he's our vice chair, and there's about 11 of us. We oversee all of the master's teams, all of the master's programming and events that happen within the borders of North Texas. So North Texas is all the way up to the Oklahoma border, south to Waco, east to the Louisiana border, and then we stop out right before Lubbock, because technically Lubbock and Abilene are in New Mexico. They're considered New Mexico for master standards. But anyway, so yeah, we oversee all of the masters events. The teams, we've got 18 club teams here in North Texas. The majority of them between the Dallas Fort Worth and the Metroplex. I'm a masters coach. I'm the head coach of I'm the head coach of the Dallas YMCA Masters. So I work out of the YMCA's here in Dallas. And I'm also the 44 and under coach for Lone Star Masters. So that's a little bit about my swimming. I am great in the water. I respect everything all you triathletes do, because if you ever saw me run or bike, it's not that pretty. But I have done a few sprint triathlons. I respect everything y'all do. It's pretty badass.
Well, Jackie is on here to support me because I am new to the Masters swim meet world and could not be more tickled to be doing it. We did one last year and we're doing two this year. So I am going to launch right into the presentation. It's going to be split up into basically three parts that I'll run through. I'm going to go through some really quick basics about what Masters is, and I'm going to go right into the reasons why I wanted to share with you today, why I think it's so important for triathletes to become involved with Masters swim meets, or even a Masters club I'll mention in a minute. And at the end, I'm going to leave some time for Jackie to introduce a little bit more about, we'll call it Swim Meet 101, what to expect. But we'll leave that till the end, and we'll leave time for questions. I want to try to keep everything within about 30 minutes or less presentation wise, so you guys have plenty of time to ask whatever questions you might have. So I'm going to share my screen. Bear with me here. This process always seems to be simple. All right. Can everybody see what's a USMS swim meet?
Yep.
Awesome. Good, good, good. All right. So what I want to go into first really quick is I want to explain, I think one of the biggest barriers I found, one large barrier challenge to bringing triathletes into master swimming is the term masters. And I want to take a quick moment to define that. In the triathlon world, a master or masters are people that are 40 plus that are very competitive. Most races will give a masters, overall masters, male and female award, as well as an overall male and female for the whole race. So we identify masters as being really competitive people. In the masters world, anybody, and Jackie, you jump in and correct me whenever I say something here that's incorrect. In the masters world, anybody 18 plus is eligible to join and become a master swimmer. And master swimming doesn't cater to just competitive swimmers. They cater to everybody across the board. And I can't say that with more sincerity. I've seen the most supportive community around master swimming that I've seen in any NGO I've been involved with. So they have room for competitive people. There's a gentleman on the board named Tom who has just set, I believe, Jackie, a couple of world records, right?
Yes. In his age group, he set this year he set six world aquatics records in the 70 to 74 age group.
Wow.
He's a wonderful guy, an amazing swimmer. So you've got folks like him, but you also have people that are just getting going. I mean, Masters offers a adult learn to swim program as well. At the meets, you'll see people across the spectrum, which is really cool. So Masters, that term when it comes to US Masters, just means 18 plus. We'll leave it at that. USMS is split into really kind of three parts, we'll say. There's the local LMSC, which Jackie mentioned, local master swim committee. Then it goes up to zones, and then our committee is part of a greater zone, which I'll go into a little bit more detail at the end, and Jackie alluded to. And then you have national. So you have kind of those three divisions. And if you've been in USA Triathlon any more than 5 years, you know that we used to be divided up into 10 distinct regions, and this was the USAT South Midwest. I really wish it was back to that because it really brought a lot of wonderful local grassroots stuff to the programming for triathlon that we don't get anymore. So I think Masters really has it going on. They make it hum and do wonderful. And Jackie just happens to be the chair of the zone as well. She is a business.
Oh, wow.
So with that note, I'll come back and say a little bit more about that later on, but I want to go ahead and jump into, there's what I just mentioned. And I'm going to come back to this in a minute at the end so I can make sure and get through these 8 talking points I have, and then come back at the end and share with you where you can get information locally about the zone, what the zone offers, and then also nationally, because it all ties together with the meets I'm talking about. So the first thing I want to talk about, why these can benefit a triathlete, why a US Masters or swim meet can benefit a triathlete is, got the wrong screen open, sorry guys, is to practice pacing. The first thing triathletes notice when they go to a swim meet, if they haven't, read up or kind of gotten some background on it, is you're not allowed to wear our ever all important ergometer, the Garmin watch. You can't wear one.
Oh, Frank, I'm going to stop you.
Oh, yes,
real quick.
yes.
You so per the rules, you can wear it, you cannot activate it, which is kind of silly. But it's like, so if you show up behind the block, and we'll get into this, but like, and you have your watch on, it won't be a disqualification. But if they see you like start it and stop it, then that will be a disqualification. So you can't use your watch. But
and I would say, as a triathlete, knowing the way triathletes work, leave it at home because you're going to look at it, you're going to do something with it. It's just a natural habit for us. At workouts, I'm constantly trying to get them to use the clock on the wall sometimes to mix that in. But this is a good thing. It's not a bad thing because it makes you, it sets up the scenario. We have to work on your pacing, the body sense for what different paces feel like. You do have individuals that are in your lane to help you. And I'll let Jackie get into that a little bit more if she wants at the end when we talk about kind of the overall, what a swim meet looks like. But you've got somebody counting your laps for you that's got a big board that they set there. And you can look at it when you get to the turn and you can see what lap you're on. And you also have a counter with a redundant counter. Somebody just clicked in. Let me let them in real quick. You also have a counter, a timer that's taking your time and your splits. And then you have somebody redundant many times behind them that's there just in case something happens with that timer. So it's really a good thing. It takes you out of your comfort zone and that. It's just wonderful to practice pacing. Next thing is it's a good opportunity. Whoops. I practiced this, guys. There we go. It's a good opportunity to work on race day elements before you get to a triathlon. Many times we get to a triathlon, we don't have an opportunity to practice race day energy beforehand. A lot of times we'll use running events as B and C races to practice our run. There's no reason why we can't use swim meets to do the same thing with our swim. It'll give us an opportunity as swim meet to work on our race morning skills, such as warming up. Swim meets always have a lane where you can go and warm up. Triathletes are the worst about it. I can say this because I am one. About warming up properly beforehand before they get into the water for a triathlon. At a US Masters swim meet, you've got a lane that's there for warming up. And there's some people Gosh, correct me if I'm wrong, Jackie. They're in there sometimes 30, 45 minutes in advance warming up, some of them, those people.
Yeah, we at a masters meet, a lot of us will go in and do an extended warm up, probably about an hour to 45 minutes before we swim. And then maybe 10 minutes out, we'll go and just warm up for like 5 minutes. A lot of that's really just to get reacclimated to the water, because that way when you dive in, you're not just whoo or jump in, whatever you're comfortable with. You're not like, oh wow, that's cold.
Yeah.
And so the warm-up lanes are there. They're designated warm-up, and that's what they are the whole time. So that's a good thing. Performing under race day pressure. The other thing about race day, we just don't get enough opportunities. I've been there with athletes so many times before they jump into the, I call it the drink, whether it's a sprint or an open water swim race, and they just haven't had that opportunity to feel that lineup, what's going on with the energy, what's going on inside of them when they line up. So it's an opportunity to work through all those things beforehand. Going right into the energy section of it, helps you to work on managing or regulating your anxiety. A lot of times I find when I line up for a race, there's two different things going on. There's that anxiety or that eagerness to get going. We've been training hard, we're ready to do it. And sometimes it's the unknown. We might be doing something on a course that's brand new, but we've got an opportunity beforehand with a couple of meets under our belt to kind of think through beating at the beginning of that swim. All these experiences are going to build confidence and mental toughness. The next thing is breath control work. It is so important in all three disciplines to work on breathing. If you come to one of my track workouts, you know how much importance I put on something I call a breath stride. In swimming, I can't say enough about it. I could do a whole clinic just on breath control work. We do breath control workouts sometimes at our swims, but the breath control and the rhythms that are found in tying that together with your kick and making sure you're breathing fully and completely, and that you're not breathing very shallow. All these things that you work on in swimming will translate over into obviously into your swimming for triathlon, but in all of your disciplines, swim, bike, and run. I feel there's definitely some bleed over, I think, from swimming. A lot of times I'll make allusions from swimming to running with different things, especially with breathing. The next thing on there is, and I'm going to go through these guys at the end. If you want to go back and refer back to one of these and ask me about it, please feel free. Off-season training motivation. Before I go on and read the next statement I prepared, I want to just share that I am a big believer in having transitory periods in your training. If you train straight through 365 year after year after year, you may have some kind of a goal that's on a 2 or 3 year cycle. Who knows? But sometimes burnout is something that's potentially there, or injury due to overtraining. Those things can happen. I just got a error code flash across my screen. Can everybody still see what's on my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So error code just flashed across my screen. I want to make sure something didn't shut down. It's important to take those times in between training sometimes, and it may sound like I'm saying to skip those on my next statement, but preparing for a master swim can inject new energy into your off-season training. It gives you a goal for performing because you're going to perform for something for a specific event, and it can really help keep your workouts fresh because you're focused on that swim meet. And that alone, that in itself will bring different things. Even if you're working on a long course swim meet, you're probably going to do a little bit more speed work. If you do yeah, I'm going to have Jackie talk in a second about there's distinct seasons with swim meets. Hope that's the right way to say that, Jackie, to where there's long course sometimes, but other times there's not. There's short course. And so it also gives you an opportunity to work in different arenas, maybe doing a little bit more speed work than what you normally do, which is good too. Next one is refined freestyle, and the other three, as I like to put it. So the triathletes are always freestyle, 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 unless we have those few people that come to the sport that might have been collegiate swimmers. First of all, breaststroke. Great stroke for us to work on as triathletes, because breaststroke can come into play in open water swimming, be it in a choppy situation where you need to sight, getting a breath. If you find yourself, getting a little bit out of breath, coming into a busy turn on a buoy, many different reasons. But working on breaststroke, maybe for a swim meet, can help you to refine your breaststroke. The other thing about working on the other strokes and maybe competing at a swim meet in a different stroke than what you're comfortable with is getting out of your comfort zone. But also it helps to develop your feel for the water. And that's so important. And feel for the water, I think everybody here probably knows that, but I'm going to just quickly mention that. We want to be able to feel like we're actually applying force to the water and moving our bodies through the water. And that's what it means by feel for the water, that you can feel yourself pulling and freestyle, and eventually somewhere around here, it turns into a push. So working in all three strokes can help you develop your feel for the water as well as you're preparing for a swim meet. So supplement your on that to work on your different strokes. This is when I want to take a quick sidebar. And I'm going to have Jackie add in on clubs in a second. She told you a minute at the beginning that there are 18 clubs in this area, NTLMSC, which is North Texas local master swim committee. I coach a tri team. We have 2 swims a week. They're great swims. They're very well attended. But I even encourage my athletes to go and try other swims, work with other coaches, supplement what you're doing with your tri team, what you're doing by yourself by joining a master swim program. Now, master swimming clubs you can find on the national and the LMSC website. But I just want to let Jackie add in here anything else she wants to about joining a master's club. Anything you want to add into that, Jackie?
Yeah, thank you, Frank. I real quick after I finish speaking, I will drop the Club Finder tool on US Masters into the chat here, so y'all have the link. Make it nice and easy if you want to go and look not only teams in North Texas but anywhere in the country. Because as Frank mentioned, not only are we local but we are national. But I can imagine swimming with a master's club is probably very similar to training with a triathlon group. A lot of camaraderie, a lot of social aspects, people there pushing you to do better, simply just by going ahead of you, going behind you in swimming, kind of riding your tail. I always feel that I get a better workout when I swim with a group. And as Frank mentioned in the beginning, a lot of times master swimming is very intimidating, just by the name, but it's not as scary as you think, as it sounds. Sorry. I coach a group. We have 10 lanes going at once. Not every group will be this large, but we'll have people going on the 120 interval. So they'll be swimming hundreds on the 120, post-collegiate athletes, very fast. I'll have other lanes going on a 220 base, a 230 base, doing for their whole workout and everything in between. Most master's programs, at least in North Texas, do operate that way. If you come, you'll kind of talk with the coach. You'll let them know, hey, this is my speed or this is my pace. And we'll put you in a group of people who are right around that same speed as you. Pending how you progress, if you make a lot of great progress and your pace lowers, let's say you go from 2 minutes to a 150, they'll shift you accordingly. Let's say you go on vacation. This happened to me recently. You're out of the pool for 2 or 3 weeks. You come back. You're like, I need to go on a slower interval. They'll adjust you down. No judgment. All good fun. So I highly recommend it, especially if you are looking, whether it's with Frank and his tri group, any other tri group swimming with a master's team. It is really, in my opinion, very beneficial to swim and train with a group in the water.
So that, guys, you know, the one thing to know with that there are some additional fees that would be involved. Whereas, you know, usually you're joining a club, whether it's triathlon or swimming, you have to pay the fee for that club. And that's going to vary by the club. You'll need to be a USMS member, which you don't necessarily have to be a USA Triathlon member to join a club workout, but you will have to be one, right, Jackie, a USMS member? Can they join a master swim without being a USMS member?
US Masters membership is required. We can talk about that a little bit at the end, but it is $75 annually, very similar to the USAT annual fee. And then clubs will have different fees based on there.
And there's a lot of benefits to joining USMS that I'm going to touch on at the end. If for nothing else, joining USMS National and get the workouts from their website, it's phenomenal. It's the best library of swim workouts on the planet. So
I will say we do this is a little plug for our Lone Star team. We do have one team in North Texas, Lone Star Masters. We are technically considered a virtual team. So if you are a United States Masters swimmer, you have your annual membership. We don't require club dues. We mainly we show up to every event in North Texas. Not all of us. There's about 200 of us. So every event there's maybe 30 of us, 20 of us. But we make sure we have a space to sit. We make sure everyone's ready to swim. We're kind of like our own hype squad at a swim meet. But if you are someone who is interested in, maybe you have your own triathlon team you're swimming with, but you do want to get involved in US Masters meets, Lone Star is a team that would be a good fit for you because you don't have to pay any extra dues, but you still do have that Masters team, if that makes sense.
Sometimes you'll have to pay a facility fee. I'm going to do a hard sell at the end for you to visit, if you're going to visit a master's program, to visit Jackie's. because she's an amazing chair, amazing coach, and just a great leader. And her swims, to go there, you'd have to also be a member of the Y. So some clubs you might have to be a member of the facility, but they're not all like that. That's right. Is that correct, Jackie?
Yes, each, and I just sent the list over in the chat now. If you were to click on the various teams, it'll be, every team is different when it comes to fees, but it'll lay it out for you what's required and whether it's monthly, annually, all of that.
All right, we're going to jump back into our reasons why I think triathletes feel like triathletes should do meets. Let's get back to meets now. The next one is improve swim speed and efficiency. Triathletes often swim one steady speed. One of the things I've been working with my folks on are they know two speeds a lot of times. They know stop and on. And those nuanced ones in between, they don't have a good feel for that. We've been doing some work with we call T-pace, their pace per 100, which you'll hear that in any kind of a swim you go to, but people approach it in different ways, different coaches, different programs. But it's important to have those nuances in between and do some actual speed work, some tempo type work, and other things. Working and getting ready for a swim meet is gonna encourage you and have you do that kind of work. So improve swim speed and efficiency is going to also be something that's going to carry over into open water pacing as well. Benchmarking fitness is the next one. Doing these timed events is going to help you to monitor where your strengths and weaknesses are as you focus on just that discipline. I alluded to something back at the beginning about making swim meets B and C races. We did a lunch with coach a couple of months ago where we talked about selecting your A race and then making different events, be they run events or swim meets or bike rallies or different things, your B and C races, to work on a particular objective to help your overall triathlon training. These are phenomenal for that, for benchmarking your fitness to see where you're at, because you're doing it in that competitive atmosphere. The other thing on that is the little distances. So focusing on speed work. Now, I'm going to take our second sidebar here. There are distinct seasons to master swim meets. And Jackie, this is where I'm going to have you jump in because I'm not as clear on this as I should be. I know right now we're approaching or we're in long course, which is what Try Now produces. There's a couple of long course swim meets I'll mention in a second. Where does it go from there, Jackie, as far as seasonal?
So technically, Frank, we are currently we have 3 seasons with master swimming. We have our short course yard season, which is 25, where we compete in a 25-yard pool. Traditionally, the main months of those seasons are January through April. Then you have long course season, which is in a 50-meter pool, which is traditionally May through August. And then we end the year with short course meter season, which is a 25-meter pool. And that'll be traditionally from September through December. Now, all 3 courses have the same exact events. There are a few differences. For example, the longer events, and this is a meter to yards thing. The 1650, which is a mile, it's a little bit shorter than an actual mile. I'm not sure where they came up with the calculations, but if you hear the 1650, that means 650-yard race. That is in yards. But when you compete in long course meters or short course meters, that 1650 goes away because they convert it to meters, which becomes a 1500, if that makes sense. So it's the same race from a distance perspective. It's just kind of that conversion from yards to meters. The same goes for the 800-meter freestyle. You'll see that for long course yards and long course meters and short course meters. You won't see that in short course yards. You'll see that as the 1,000 freestyle. And then same with the 500 freestyle. 500 freestyle for yards, but then the 400-meter freestyle for long course meters and for short course meters. All other events are the same. 50 freestyle, 100 freestyle, 200 IM. I think in total there's 18 different events in all 3 courses that you can choose from. The shortest you can swim is 50 meters, which is down and back in a pool. We consider those sprints, no matter who the athlete is, whether you're doing your 50 on 2 minutes, takes you 2 minutes to get down the pool, or whether it takes you 20 seconds. It's as fast as you can go down and back, everything in between. And then we have some moderate events, the 200, the 500. And then we do have that 1,000-yard 800 meter freestyle and the 1500 meter 1650 yard freestyle, which I do believe that 1500 meters is the traditional distance for an Olympic, correct, Frank? An
It
Olympic
is, it sure is.
triathlon?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, you could go swim. You could get the same length of your first leg of the, you can train for your Olympic or your sprint triathlon through a swim meet by getting those distances in.
That stuff too that Jackie just, thank you so much, Jackie. I always learn something listening to her as well. The on those swim meets too, it makes you too think about the demarcation or the distances involved with these swim meets. I think will help a triathlete too to split their swim up sometimes. I'm a big proponent of, if an open water swim course allows you to kind of split it up into sections so you can take it section at a time, and sometimes pacing and knowing those paces at different distances. There's so many things you can go on and on about the benefits of it, but I was just thinking of a few other things I could talk about just listening to her. So I'm going to move on though, since we're limited on time, to number 8. And then number 8 is I kind of already mentioned, but I can't say enough about the community that's around USMS. It's very supportive. When it's competitive in a wonderful, healthy way. And that's not to say that as triathletes we're not. It's just a different setting, and you'll know what I'm talking about when you're there. There's always a lot of, usually a lot of the meets, there's something social built around it, to where everybody gets together afterwards or during. People sit around, talk. They bring their own chairs and hang out and talk to people as they're, waiting for their turn, or cheering on, or watching their other people that are members in the same area. It's just a really great atmosphere. I really enjoy it. So community and camaraderie. That's just, go ahead, Jackie.
Oh, I'm going to interject real quick, Frank. The funny thing with, and we joke about this as master swimmers, we'll show up to a 3-hour event and we'll swim maybe us sprinters who are swimming the hundreds and the 50s. We'll maybe swim three minutes out of 3 hours.
That's
so
funny.
Unlike triathletes, and the thing with triathletes too, where you're starting at one point, you're ending at another, we're kind of sitting around. Just hanging out to swim. So because of that, there's a lot of socializing that happens. There's a lot of cheering that goes on, even if we don't know who's swimming, our eyes are on the pool. So it's almost that built-in camaraderie. It's definitely, forced is not the right word, but it just creates a good atmosphere to kind of chat, hang out, relax, get ready for your race. I know a lot of triathletes, and the triathlon community is a great community. It's just kind of the structure of the race that allows us to really have that. And you always feel welcome because there's always people on the side cheering like, hey, go, like you had a great race. Simply because we're all within the same natatorium, all around the same pool, like I said, for 3 hours.
Well, that section right there, guys, is just 8 things that I picked out that I thought were at the top of the list. I thought of a few more afterwards, but I wanted to keep us in our time. I'm going to go into some other things for just a second, for just this last part. And then I'm going to come back and leave it open for questions, and we can revisit anything we've talked about, whether it's this or what I said back at the beginning. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to flesh out a little bit more about the opportunities that you have from a local swim meet to go to zones, which is Houston this year, I believe, and then go to national, which is in San Antonio. So there's really an avenue to do so many wonderful, competitive, fun things that it really will supplement your triathlon training. Before I get to that, though, I just want to take a second to see if there's anything, kind of leave it open to Jackie to talk through. I said I call this swim meet 101, but coming into a swim meet, registering and getting there is a little bit different. Having to think through the logistics. Nothing, too confusing or too involved. But Jackie, you want to just talk them through what to expect when they get there in the morning, and then they're going to see people over there in the lane, the timers and the people counting their laps, and just kind of touch on that for a minute.
Sure. So the one thing with the swim meet that I feel is probably different from a triathlon is we start with an hour warm up. So no matter what meet you go to, whether it's a distance meet, whether it's a sprint meet, the pool will always be open for an hour. So you kind of show up and people are all doing their own thing. Some people will be over in the seating area getting their stuff ready. You'll see some people stretching. You'll see some people socializing. But you'll also see a big wide open pool and people hopping in and out as they want to. This is what we call warm up. You are welcome to warm up as long or as little as you want. I am personally notorious for getting in the warm up pool and talking for an hour. that all of my teammates laugh at me for it. But again, there's that social atmosphere going on. There's also plenty of lanes though. So if you're like, you know what, this is my first time, I'm nervous, I'm just going to put my head down and go. You have that for a whole hour before any race starts. My recommendations for warm up, step one, find the seating area, get yourself situated, get yourself comfortable, show up with a plan for warm up. Now, again, I'm a breaststroker. I like to swim the 200 breaststroke. My training partner is a 50 freestyler. So we get in for warm up and we do different things. And we know like, okay, I'm going to go do A, B, C, and D. She's going to go do A, B, and C, or X, Y, and Z. So have a plan, do what's going to warm you up for your event. If you have questions, ask your coach. Even your triathlon coach should be able to warm you up or give you a warm up for the workout. I will say if you're at a North Texas meet, and I will most likely be there, and if you have no idea what to do for warm up, come find me on pool deck, because I will say, hey, let me know what event you're swimming and I can give you a warm up. Once that hour ends, and actually I should say within that hour, towards the end of it, at masters meets, we do dive off blocks. It is not necessary. You do not have to. It is not required. But people do. So they will open the blocks up for probably the last 15 minutes for dives. If you're like, I don't dive, I'm not used to this, you can dive off the side. Again, there's no judgment from anyone on that pool deck how you decide to start. You can even start in the pool with your hand on the wall. So if you don't want to practice your dives, you can head back to your seats. If you do want to practice your dives, they'll open up the blocks and you can do practice dives. So your first dive into that pool is not during your race. That whole hour finishes and then they will start running the masters meet from there. Masters meets, and Frank, let me know if this is too much. I'm going too much into this. But there's only 8 to 10 lanes in a pool. So there's only 8 to 10 people who race at once. That's why the meet tends to be a little bit longer. And why there's a lot of time where we're sitting around hanging out. Only 8 to 10 people at a time. You'll get your event number. The event number indicates which event you're swimming. So the 50 freestyle, the 100 freestyle, the 200 freestyle, and then you'll get a heat, which is your group. And then you'll get a lane assignment. And that's how you kind of know when to go, where to go. And again, if this is all new to you, which it probably will be, you can turn to the person next to you in the stands and just be like, this is my heat and lane. What does that mean? And anyone on pool deck will help you. So I guess that's pretty much a swim meet. My biggest piece of advice is it can be very intimidating because there's a lot of little things you need to do, but don't be afraid to ask questions because everyone there is there to help guide you, to help get you behind the blocks, to help you get a warm up in. So never be afraid to ask. We're here to make sure that you have a good first experience. That is one great thing about the Masters community is we're here to rally and make sure, even if we have no idea who someone is, that they have a really great first swim and second swim and third swim.
And on and on and
All
on.
your swims. Yeah.
You also get at a master swim meet, there's categories for awards, just like at a triathlon. So there are awards given away. And they really try to be very creative with those at swim meets, which is cool. The other thing I want to mention really quick, Jackie, is last year we had somebody that it was questionable about whether the attire they had on was okay. What's the regulation on that again? I can't remember about their attire.
Yeah, no, so for masters swim meets, one-piece swimsuit, it cannot have any neoprene in it or anything buoyant. So no brands, it's okay. You can wear any type of swimsuit, or not any type of swimsuit, but any type of training swimsuit. It does not have to be a competition suit. I personally like to go to Swim Outlet. Anything on Swim Outlet works. But I know some of the tri suits will have, especially kind of like with the bike padding and stuff, either neoprene or like a substance that will make you buoyant. We are not allowed to wear those in masters meets.
So your one piece, we had somebody last year that had on, it turned out to be okay, but had on a one piece tri kit, but he had some buoyancy in it because of his padding and something else on there. Yeah. So just wearing your regular stuff you use to train is what you would wear for a master swim meet, is the take home on that. So, I'll leave that open for questions at the end. I want to introduce you really quick to local versus zone versus nationals. And
Oh.
we're at about 35 minutes right now, so I'm going to go through it kind of quick and leave you guys time to ask any questions. So that formatting didn't come out quite like I wanted it to. Let me open up a couple of web pages really quick. Give me a second here to switch over. So we talked about on the local level, okay? And on the local level, well, I had these all laid out to do this. Now they're not there. All right, we're going to go to national first. So the national website is usms.org. Great website full of so much information. You can find out just so much on there. I think it's one of the best NGO websites out there. I hate to say that, since I've been with USAT for 20 plus years, but this is a great website. Jackie's very integral too with volunteering at the national level to help them with some of the content on there. She's doing some stuff with peer-to-peer networks that are going to start up soon, but it's a great website. So national, then going down from there, you have zones. Okay. She told you this is the USMS South Central Zone. Okay. Can you guys still see that? Yes.
Mm-hmm. And real quick, so what our zone is, and actually it says it right on the website, Arkansas, the Gulf, Oklahoma, North Texas, and South Texas. So pretty much all of Texas, with the exception of West Texas. They're technically New Mexico. And then Arkansas and Oklahoma. So we all come together as a South Central Zone.
Well,
and you can see it going across there that the spring, I think I have that page set up. I tried to do it ahead of time. There it is right there. So the zone spring championships are scheduled. They're up and going. I'm going to have Jackie really quick kind of talk about that progression. If you go to a local meet, zone meet to a national, what that involves, and if you have to qualify. But just introducing you to that, that's the zone meet. And then the national championship is coming up in Houston. And they have a national championship, pool championships at distances. They have an open water, and then they have something that's called virtual championships as well. So Jackie, I'm not real clear on that progression. How does somebody get to zones in the nationals? In USAT, they've got to qualify. How does it work in masters?
Yeah. So anything local that we host here in North Texas, and let's say you were in Houston and you're part of the Gulf, anything they offer in the Gulf. So anything local is open to everybody. No qualifying times. It's meant to be fun. We traditionally do little things for all meet participants, whether it's like a little bag tag or a swim cap. It's a great, I always recommend, especially if you've never done a masters meet before or any type of swim meet, start with something local. Frank will go over, he's got a few events coming up. And then we have another race that just came on the board for the spring. So we do have between now and February, we have January and February, we have 3 meets going on, which Frank can talk about. But then you have the zone level. We have 2 zone meets a year. We have our short course spring championships. This year is happening in Houston. And then we have our long course summer championships, which happens in July. It's happening in San Antonio this year. There are no qualifying times for those meets. Also, so anyone is welcome. Everyone is welcome to those meets. Those meets are 3-day meets. And the reason is because more people attend them. So the days are longer. So instead of doing a 14-hour day, we'll do 2 7-hour days. And then Friday night's traditionally like a 3 or 4-hour session. So we break it up that way. And then that way also, because it's a championship, those who are a little bit more competitive can do 2 or 3 events, rest overnight, then do 2 or 3 more events the next day instead of having to bang out 6 events in a day. So they're run like a championship meet. They do give out awards and medals at the championship meet, which is always fun, but it is open to everyone. You do not have to qualify, and you do not have to be a competitive swimmer or even a competitive triathlete to sign up and attend the zone meets. Traditionally, our local meets will have about 100 people, anywhere from 50 to 100 people. A zone meet will have about 300 people at them, just so you can kind of understand numbers. And then finally, we have our national championships. Now, for the pool championships, again, similar to the zones, you have your spring and you have your summer. Spring is short course yards, summer is long course meters. They rotate around the country every year. This year, they are in San Antonio, which us Texans are very excited about. And they do have qualifying times, national qualifying times, but anyone is eligible to swim up to 3 events without a qualifying time. So if you look at the times and you're like, I didn't qualify for any of those, you could still sign up for 3 events. If you qualified for 2 events, so if I'm looking at the qualifying times and I'm like, oh, I qualified for the 50 and the 100 breaststroke, but that's it, I could technically swim 5 events because I can do the 2 I qualified for plus 3 extra events. And this is the national office's way of getting everyone involved in nationals, allowing everyone to come and swim, but also still keeping it competitive and allowing those who are kind of, I guess, our version of elite, giving them that platform to really compete competitively on. We also do have, and it's growing in masters, and we do have 2 races, actually both run by Frank here in North Texas, open water. And I personally think open water races and the events that we have is a great training opportunity for triathletes. But I actually went to my first open water national championship this summer. Those are a lot more relaxed. There is no qualifying time for those. And again, you have swimmers of all different backgrounds. The only thing with the open water championships for masters is wetsuits are not allowed unless water is under a certain temperature. But I have to go back on the exact, but we're a little bit more strict on wetsuits than USAT is. But that said, our open water races are a little bit more relaxed than USAT races, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. So that's how it works. So I personally would recommend check out one of our local events, which Frank will go into. Very similar to USAT, US Masters, we have an annual membership. It's $75 for the year. And you do not have to be a US Master to participate in our events. But if you are not a USA Master, it is an additional $20 registration fee. Just like USAT will sometimes charge you your $15, $20 event fee. Meet some open water swims. The Masters membership is 100% worth it, even if you don't attach to a team.
So that, guys, you can see there how there's so many wonderful opportunities. You can take it as far as you want to go, and it can really, the point here in all this is it's just a great tool to give you a different avenue for competing and just something different, but to enhance your triathlon training. It's going to do nothing but good stuff for your triathlon training. Gosh, Janky, that was amazing. Thank you. I'm going to, we talked about the championships there. What I'm going to talk about is I'm going to go back to some of the local stuff here, guys. And I finally pulled up while she was talking. You may have seen it. This is our local NT website, and they try to keep this updated. The new webmaster we have is actually a web guy, and he's doing a great job keeping it updated. But the local meets are usually listed on there. I went ahead and listed. So let me go back to this.
There we go. Yeah.
There it is. So we've got 2 coming up with try now. We've got the Far Out 1000 coming up on January the 26th, I believe. And then we've got the Farther Out 1650 coming up on February 23rd, I believe the date is on that. So those are both, I'm proud to say, we're doing 2 meets next year. We had so much fun last year. Meets are limited to the number of registrations you can take on because of the timing, the amount of time it takes. If we let it go past a certain point, you'd be there, like Jackie said, for a very long time. So I think we have ours limited to, I can't remember the number, Jackie. Remember off the top of your head what our numbers were, our limits?
I think it was 70 for the Far Out 1000s, and I think 48 for the 1650.
It was 48 or 56. I can't remember now.
40, yeah.
One of those 2 numbers. So it's limited.
Now, and what these 2 races for Masters is kind of, it's a specialty event, which we like because it's something different. It's only the 1000 freestyle for Far Out 1000, and it's only the 1650 freestyle for the Farther Out 1000. So everyone who's there, unlike I was just saying how you can go and pick out of these 18 events, for this race, you're going and swimming 1 event, which is either the 1000 or the 1650, which I think is really cool. We've had a lot of fun with it. And even our masters have loved it because it gives us a challenge, because a lot of us won't swim more than a 200 in a meet. We can be weenies that way. But this challenges us, but these two events are a great way to mix, because you get the triathletes in, but you also get those masters in who are like, this is new to us too. We've never swam the 1,000 before. So it's a really fun energy, good camaraderie meets. I highly recommend both of them.
We had the gentleman I mentioned earlier, Tom, actually he and a couple of other athletes from were they from Pegasus? The ones that did the backstroke?
Frisco, Texas Sport Aquatics.
Texas Sport Aquatics. They competed against each other and did the whole thing with backstroke, which was pretty cool. And they were amazing to watch, man. They were just like seamless. It was really cool to see. So those are the two we're doing. I had the websites pulled up. I'll come back to those in a second because I wanted to go to. I'm presenting this on Canva.
Did
Oh, there it is. Go ahead.
North Texas this morning. It's going to be on Super Bowl Sunday in the morning at Texas Sport Aquatics, and it's going to be a pentathlon swim. So pentathlon in swimming, it's 5 races. It's a butterfly race, a breaststroke race, a freestyle race, and a backstroke race, and an IM race. So the swimmers will be able to go and participate in all 5. You do not have to complete the pentathlon. You can go up, you can show up and compete in any of the races. There'll just be like a little award for those who, or novelty award for those who do all 5 swims. But that is going to be on February 9th, and that will be posted very soon.
Hey, Jackie, right at the very beginning, hey guys, this screen I'm showing you is not the meet that she's talking about. This is just what I was going to show you. The first couple of seconds when you said the name of it, it cut out.
Oh, it's a pentathlon. So Texas Sport Aquatic Pentathlon. They're hosting a pentathlon swim, and pentathlon, 5 events in the swim world. It's going to be a butterfly event, a backstroke event, a breaststroke event, a freestyle event, and the individual medley.
That's really cool. This is just another one I pulled up down in Houston that happens, I believe, pretty much every year, right, Jackie? The Sweetheart.
Yes. And I went to this meet last year. Nicole runs a wonderful meet. The meet director.
So that's another one. Nicole, we work with Nicole on some stuff. She's great. She's an avid master swimming person, just like Jackie is. And then this one is one I found, I pulled up, that's up in Arkansas. That's coming up here pretty soon. Not far off of one of ours. It's on a Friday. You could do up there and then come back and do it ours. So there's opportunities to do different things. This one just says, I haven't really looked through it thoroughly. Are you familiar with this one, Jackie?
Yes. I did this meet 2 years ago. This is actually a long course. So I was earlier talking about the various seasons in swimming, and long course is traditionally May through August, but you can host meets at any time of year. So this is an off-season long course meet. First chance long course meet. The name of it is, it's the beginning of the year. Your first chance to get your long course times in for 2025.
Guys, I'm going to stop there because I had a couple of other things, but we're getting late in time. I want to leave for any questions. So I'll check the chat while you guys talk, and I have everybody unmuted. So does anybody have any questions? Anything they want to talk about before we leave for the day? I know Andrew, I think you know Jackie, and I'll drop my contact information over here as well. If you have any questions or anything you want to add in, Andrew, please don't hesitate. My people that are there. Amy, you came in late. Is that Amy? Amy Hun? I'm not sure if she's still on here or not.
Yeah, this is such great info though. And I'm like, I just want to see where can I get that details about the price. I know every club has its own different pricing for that master swim, right?
About the price for the meets to register form?
Yeah, no, just the monthly price or the yearly price for the swims, the youth master swims.
So what I hear you asking is the yearly price for swims to join like a club, you're saying?
Yeah, just like a club. Like, is that on the information the website I shared?
You'll have to go to that individual. You'll have to go to the individual club, like through Club Finder that she put up there, and then each club dictates their cost. A lot of times they're monthly, sometimes yearly. Is that right, Jackie?
Okay.
Both, or is it just usually monthly for most of them? I think we lost Jackie. I think she froze again.
Okay.
It's definitely. Did you hear me,
Can you hear me
Jackie?
now?
I
Yeah.
can. You're back.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Okay. So every team operates independently and can set their own costs. The majority of our teams will have monthly, but sometimes, especially when you catch them in January, they'll run like an annual X amount for the year, and then you don't have to pay again until next year. But it all depends on the team. So if you go to the link I sent in the chat, it'll list all the teams.
Oh, sure.
And
Thank you.
yeah, click on the websites and the information should be there. And if it's not there, you can email, there's a main contact there, and you can just say, hey, I'm interested in your team. And can you please send me your cost and your schedule?
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Amber, I mistakenly called you the wrong name. Hi. Uh, did you have any questions? And thanks for joining us. Amber might be on mute. Bobby, how about you? Anything?
I don't think so. I think I'm gonna sign up for one of the Try Now ones in January.
Ooh.
But I don't think so. Frank already knows I'm working on my swimming. I'm an adult, I guess, onset swimmer for a triathlon, and I'm pretty bad at it. So I'm looking into the clubs.
Bobby is being, she's being, what's the word? Self-deprecating where it's not necessary. She's a great swimmer. She's an amazing athlete, period, but she's an amazing swimmer.
I tell triathletes this: if you're ever intimidated showing up to the pool, ask any swimmer in the pool how they run. Because we've got it too. We've got it too. We're just the opposite of y'all. So we know exactly how y'all, it's a different sport or a different a different sport, but we know how it feels to show up somewhere intimidated. So there's no judgment when you show up to a pool.
Thank you.
Bobby can smoke everybody on the run, so she's an incredible runner. David, Bonks, teach.
Yeah, I'm looking around at clubs and stuff like that. The beating is it's always so early. My God, it's always so early, and I'm not the early bird, and neither is Nicole. So I'm really kind of struggling with like 5:30, 6 o'clock start times, which means I'm getting up even earlier than that because I gotta kind of scrape myself together and then head out to the pool. So that's my thing right now. So I'm looking around. I saw the one. I've known about the one at Green Hill forever, and there's a couple that are close to me over here at Old Lake Highlands. And so the question is going to be, I mean, I want to get better as a swimmer. That's one of the things that's really kind of been a thing I've been targeting because I can freestyle okay, but everything else is like non-existent. My breaststroke looks like I'm having some kind of epileptic seizure. My backstroke is Mr. Magoo, waiting to crash into something. It's not pretty. So I really would like to be a more accomplished swimmer, just so I can, when my foot inevitably cramps, I have something else to go to.
Are you available during lunch hour at noon?
Only on A days.
Okay. The reason I ask, because the reason Masters tends to be heavily in the morning and at noon is because there's limited pool space and the youth come in at night. And in a good way, as it should be, the youth always get priorities over the pool. That's why you'll very rarely see an evening Masters group. But I would say, of course, it has to work for scheduling, but in the case mornings don't work, there tends to be a bunch of noon group options as well. And you said you're in the Old Lake Highlands area?
Yeah, and I'm a member of I go to the Lake Highlands YMCA, the newly renovated Lake Highlands YMCA. It's really nice.
Well,
so
hey,
yeah,
if you ever pop in, I coach there in the mornings.
Oh God. So you can see just how slow I am. Just don't tell me. I'll ask you to run if you ask me to breaststroke.
Yeah, no, and even if you just pop in on a daily basis, on a like as is, like just 1 or 2 mornings, we're there. We don't have a noon group, but we are there at 5:30 in the morning.
All right. Well, I mean, I'll try and start crawling in there because that's a much shorter drive than Green Hill. Green Hill is a much longer drive. When I was working in Carrollton, it was a better deal to go to do the Green Hill than now. So I'll try and pop in early and see if that's something I can harmonize with my life and harmonize with my wife, because that's the big caveat there.
I can yeah, I'll get your email from Frank, but I can send you some information because our group also has a workout bin. So if you come a little bit later, there are workouts you can grab, like, and do the workout that we gave, but swim on your own.
So
David,
where do you guys, you're working at Lake Highlands? Because everything I'm looking at here on the site was all showing me like Highland Park. I never saw anything in Lake Highlands.
Yeah, so I'm at the Y. So like Highlands is our newest Y. So we have 2 workouts a week. So traditionally, if you were to look me up, I'm mainly out of, like, it'll say Jackie Simonis YMCA.
Okay, which I used to go to. I used to go to Simonis YMCA when I was working in Smith.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm out there at noon.
Hey, David, we're gonna, if you can drag yourself to any of the Green Hill ones, we're gonna during the off-season progression right now, which started 2 weeks ago, we're gonna insert some work on breaststroke and backstroke, probably breaststroke first, and we're gonna work on that drill. So I'll put.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and make the Sunday ones for sure. I think Sundays are something I could probably integrate more easily than the butt crack of dawn ones. Yeah, especially since it went to 5:30 because of some kind of scheduling thing from 6.
No, 5:15. 5:15.
Jesus.
Because of the high school swim team, which we got booted out of our 6 o'clock slot for them. So, well, this is great. I want to jump to Praneeth really quick. Praneeth, do you have anything else besides the cost factor? Any other questions?
No, I don't have any other questions.
Okay. That's unlike you, Praneeth. You usually have all kinds of questions in a good way. Good way. That wasn't negative.
So disappointing.
Questions are always good.
Yes. Andrew, I'm so glad that you're on the call. Do you have any questions about anything?
No, I just wanted to say, like, I've I did the Far Out 1000. I did a short course, the Rock short course, and then I went to the Texas Aquatics, the meeting a couple of weeks ago or a month ago, and I've had a blast at all of them. I've had a lot of fun. And I think, like, as a triathlete, I've done a lot of sprints in pools. I've done, now I consider myself more of an open water swimmer. I was doing like, going to Mexico, and I do open water races in Cancun and Cozumel and Puerto Morelos. And, but I like, along the lines of what you're saying, that I love is that I was like, when you go and do the meets, the people that go, you see something different, and you see it the way that you're supposed to be doing it. And then, like, it's like, you can cross your midline out in the sea and no one can see, and you can get away with it. But it's like, I think that it's like when you're in the pool, it's like people, and they see and help, and it's like, it helps with your confidence, and you're all with that. I think it's the best part of the race anyway, the swimming is. It's just like, it's like, I love it. And I've just had so much fun at the events and stuff. I'm very grateful to be a part of it. And thank you for not kicking me off of the call.
It was great to have you on. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate both y'all, you and Jackie. Thank you, Jackie.
Well,
you're welcome.
I'm going to jump off, guys, because we're at an hour. You guys have been very patient. So much wonderful information and great energy. I am going to put this up as the recording up. So if there's anything you want to go back and listen to, you can. Thank you so much, Jackie. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Frank.
Thanks, everybody, for getting on the call.
Thank you, everybody.
And I will see some of you guys tonight at the run at 6:30. All right. Have a good rest of your day.
And I hope to see you all at the Far Out 1000s or 1650s this January and February.
All right. Bye, everybody. See ya.